Are you pro spaying and neutering? If so, this video is for you. This video is not about convincing you to spay and neuter your dog. What this video will cover is when to spay and neuter your dog and why if you're already considering doing so. If you have heard multiple opinions on this matter and are confused about when is the best time to spay or neuter your dog, first of all, know that you are not alone. And second of all, pay close attention to this video because I am going to break down this topic and hopefully provide you with some clarity. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Daniela. I'm a veterinarian and today I'm going to cover when is the best time to spay or neuter your dog. So let's get started. Now this video is not meant to replace the conversation I highly encourage you to have with your veterinarian. Nevertheless, it is meant to bring up some important questions I suggest you ask your veterinarian in order to devise the best plan possible for your dog so that it can live a happy and healthy life. It has been routine in the US to spay and neuter early, usually within the first year of life, but there is new research out there helping us aid you in deciding when is the best time to spay and neuter. It overall depends on several factors such as age, breed, sex, also temperament, household environment, and intended use. What I mean by intended use is whether your dog is a hunting, herding, and/or companion dog. Another thing to consider are the risks versus benefits that are most important to you. I may sound a little bit raspy or hoarse, and that's because I'm just getting over COVID. So I'm going to be sipping on some warm tea with lemon and honey. But anyways, I digress. So let's start off with small breed males. Ideally, have your small breed male neutered once it reaches sexual maturity, and this is typically around 6 months of age. Around this age, you may notice a good amount of humping, and that is completely natural. Studies revealed that neutering small breed male dogs around this age had no increased risk with bone and joint disorders, which is wonderful. But unfortunately, a study did reveal that an increase in cancer was seen in 2 breeds when neutering around this age. So if you have a Shih Tzu or a Boston Terrier, consider neutering them a little bit past 1 year of age. Moving on to large breed male dogs. Ideally, have your large breed male dog neutered once its growth plates have completely closed. And what I mean by this, or what the translation is when it has stopped growing, which is usually between 9 and 15 months of age, depending on the breed. The risks of neutering a large breed dog too early mainly come down to 2 things: bone and joint disorders and cancer. So let's talk about the bone and joint disorders. The ones we mainly see are hip dysplasia, which we commonly see in German Shepherds. The other bone and joint disorder is cranial cruciate ligament tears, also known as ACL tears in humans. And then we have elbow dysplasia, which is commonly characterized by limping in one of the front limbs, sometimes even both of them, since the elbows are in the front limbs of dogs. In the Golden Retriever, Labrador Retriever, and German Shepherd, a study revealed that neutering around 6 months of age was associated with an increased risk of these dogs developing 1 or more bone and joint disorders, 2 to 4 times that of intact males. Now, when it comes to cancer, the cancers that we commonly see associated with neutering large breed male dogs too early are lymphoma, mast cell tumors, hemangiosarcoma, and osteosarcoma, which we commonly see in the Rottweiler. The risks of neutering a large breed male dog too early mainly come down to prostatic cysts, prostatic cancer, and testicular cancer. Now, these 3 things are also seen in small breed male dogs. So whether it's a large breed or small breed male dog, if they are neutered too late, they are all at risk of developing prostatic cysts, prostatic cancer, and testicular cancer. Dogs have played an important role in our lives for many, many years. So although I know this conversation is a bit of a downer, I think it is super important that all of you dog owners have access to this information so that you can make the best decision possible when it comes to the topic of neutering. So if you have a small breed male dog, you can have him neutered as soon as 6 months of age. But if you have a Shih Tzu or Boston Terrier, wait until they're a little past 1 year of age. Now, if you have a large breed male dog, the ideal time to have him neutered is when he has stopped growing, which is usually around 1 year of age. And also remember to feed a large breed puppy diet while they are in development. All right, let's move on to females. More specifically, small breed female dogs. The best time to have your small breed female dog spayed is ideally after the first heat cycle, but before the second. There are studies suggesting that spaying before the first heat cycle can reduce the likelihood of certain cancers. And there are other studies suggesting that waiting a little past 2 years of age to have your dog spayed can reduce the likelihood of other cancers. Let me give you an example. Boston Terriers have a higher likelihood of acquiring mast cell tumors. And studies have shown that it may be beneficial to wait until they're slightly past 2 years of age to have them spayed to reduce the likelihood of such mast cell tumors. On the other hand, another study showed that the longer one waits to spay, the higher the incidence of dogs acquiring mammary tumors, so it may be beneficial to have them spayed before their first heat cycle. Oh my gosh, which study to go with? The more you learn, the more confusing it gets, right? Well, fret not. Keep watching, and I promise things will get more simple. First and foremost, I'm going to cover a risk associated with spaying your dog too early, and that's urinary incontinence. Now, this is not very common, but I have seen it, and ultimately these dogs will dribble urine and or have accidents inside of the home. This is typically seen when dogs are spayed before the first heat cycle. Now, shelters oftentimes do not have the luxury of waiting. So first and foremost, a shout out goes to all of the shelter vets, vet techs, and veterinary personnel, as well to all of you that have adopted from shelters. Now, when it comes to people who work in shelters, they are basically receiving dogs in the masses. They do not have the luxury of waiting until a dog has had its first heat cycle to spay before the second. No. Their goal is to get these dogs as healthy as possible, get them vaccinated, dewormed, have flea prevention on board, get them spayed and neutered so that they can get them adopted out to their new loving homes. And so they have completely different goals. Where I work, we do have the luxury of waiting, so I lean more on the side of spaying after the first heat cycle, but before the second when it comes to small breed dogs. And this is not to say that I won't spay a dog that's 2 to 10 years of age, which leads me to the risks of spaying too late. So it mainly comes down to two things: mammary tumors and pyometra. Mammary tumors are when one or more tumors are dispersed along the mammary glands, and this is commonly seen in dogs that are not spayed or were spayed later on in life, usually after 2 years of age. Pyometra is an infection of the uterus, and this is something I commonly see in dogs that are older and have not been spayed. Pyometra quickly becomes an emergency. Treatment involves emergency surgery to remove the infected uterus along with the ovaries, and this usually comes at a much higher cost than a regular scheduled spay. Moving on to large breed female dogs. The risks of spaying them too early are bone and joint disorders, which can occur similarly to what was mentioned with large breed males, and urinary incontinence can occur as well, similarly to what was mentioned with small breed females. The risks of spaying a large breed female dog too late are mammary tumors and pyometra, similarly to what was mentioned for small breed female dogs. In conclusion, discuss the risks versus the benefits when it comes to spaying and neutering with your veterinarian. Keep in mind that there is no set consensus about when is the right time to spay or neuter your dog, and not all of us veterinarians are going to agree 100% of the time when having this conversation. Some veterinarians work in shelters where they spay and neuter 2-month-old dogs. Other veterinarians advocate for not spaying or neutering at all, as long as you are an educated and responsible pet owner and there's an established veterinarian-patient relationship. From my personal experience and studies, I do suggest having your small breed dog spayed or neutered anywhere between 6 months and 2 years of age, depending on the sex and breed, of course. When it comes to large breed dogs, I do suggest having them spayed or neutered once they are done growing, which is usually around 1 year of age. Also, remember to feed them a large breed puppy diet while they are growing and to avoid calcium supplements to prevent bone and joint issues. If you end up neutering your dog anywhere between 3 and 5 years of age, I will not judge you, but keep in mind that the longer one waits, the higher their chance of developing prostatic cysts, prostatic cancer, and testicular cancer. Furthermore, if you end up spaying your dog anywhere between 3 and 5 years of age, I will not judge you, but keep in mind that the longer one waits, the higher their incidence of developing mammary tumors and pyometra. If you want to save some money and not stress about expensive surgeries, then simply have your dog spayed and neutered during the recommended time frame. So that's it for today's video. I hope this information provided you with some clarity or at least some good questions for your next vet visit. If you enjoyed this content, please like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to be notified of future videos. Remember to keep an open mind. Medicine is ever evolving and you are the advocate for your pet's health. Thank you for watching. Bye everyone.